Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, I'm playing for you series Visa Badoo for a little while now. I'll go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about the stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. Hadouken, Shoryuken. I'm not even going to try any of the other. Sonic Boom. Those are about the only ones I know off the top of my head. But anyway, folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I am inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, I'm wearing grody work clothes. Typically, when I'm inside the truck and I'm wearing grody work clothes, that means I was on my way home from work and I found some shit to review for you. That is not the case today. I actually picked these up a couple days ago. I was hanging out with some friends, and after we parted ways, I went to a cool little international grocery store. And I've picked up stuff from there in the past, and I love going there. It's such a cool place. One day I need to go there when I just, have a day ahead of me. Nothing else to do. Just let me, because, I just love to just hang out at that place. But it's a great place for me to find potential review items because, well, it's full of all kinds of neat international stuff. And when I saw this, I was like, well, I can't not review these. But what are they? Well, folks, they happen to be, boom, they're Street Fighter chips. Specifically, these are Zangief Spicy Hotpot Flavor Potato Chips. Look at it. It's Zangief from Street Fighter. He's a big old Russian man. Let's get a thing for the thing here. We'll kind of do it like this. And we'll kind of yeah, man. I mean, hell, I'm a bit of an old school gamer. I've rocked some Street Fighter in my day. It's not my go-to fighting game of choice. I'm more of a Tekken guy. But, fuck, man, I'll drop some fucking Street Fighter. Although I will admit, Zangief is definitely not my character. But come on, man, it's Zangief. I love it. Plus, I love how he's cross-eyed. It's just fun. So, yeah, man, let's give these a go. Why won't you open? Open. Open. There we go. Just watch. Just like a 15-minute video of me struggling to get the bag open. Oh. Alright, I have to point this out because I always have to point this out when I review chips. Here's the bag, right? Look at the bag. It's about the size of my head. I got a big head. But here's how many chips you actually get in the bag. Nowhere near the size of my big-ass head. In fact, I'd say probably more than half of this is filled with air. I don't think Zangief would approve. I'm pretty sure if I brought Zangief in on this, he'd fucking go over there and curb stomp you for that one. But let's try out some Hotpot chips. And I have had Hotpot flavored chips before. I think Lay's. They're okay. But, well, there's a little kick. You get a little tickle at the back of your throat. They're okay, but they're kind of unremarkable. There's an okay amount of flavor to them, but it sort of fades relatively quickly. And the chips themselves are sort of just okay. Takes a little bit for the flavor to build. But once it gets there, yeah. It's got kind of a slightly savory, slightly spicy kind of vibe. Yeah, these definitely aren't particularly impressive chips. They're not, awful or anything, but, I was kind of worried about this, and, okay, look, it's clearly a gimmick, It's fucking Street Fighter. It's meant to be, something that gets bought by people like me. Hook, line, and sinker. But it's nice when, you get a gimmick, but then, it's also, an actually really nice product. This, although I wouldn't go as far as to say it's, full gimmick, at the end of the day, it's definitely more on the gimmicky side than really being an excellent product. These are definitely some relatively weak chips. If there was a stronger depth of flavor, if it hit harder and held longer, I'd be willing to go with these. Because I think the seasoning and the flavoring that they're going for isn't bad. It's kind of the closest thing I could sort of like compare it to in terms of like something might be a little bit more common to people. It's a little bit like a spicy barbecue flavor chip. But the barbecue sauce itself, or barbecue flavor itself, fairly weak. And you get a little bit more of a savory thing instead of... And yeah, and I was hoping for more of a spice. Like I said, you get a little bit at the back of the throat, but yeah, they're not great. It's more fun for the packaging than it is anything else, I feel. Like, I'm not mad at them, but especially considering that I bought these at what effectively amounts to an import store. I don't remember what I paid for them, but I'm sure I probably paid a good deal more than I would have for just a normal brand of chips. And, yeah. Again, it's not awful. The flavor itself is pretty nice. If it just would hold for longer, it would build a little bit better, I'd be really all for these. Because, again, I do think the seasoning that they use is nice. Again, it's a little bit savory, a little bit spicy. There's almost a little bit of sweetness in there, too. Like, I can actually... Again, if these were just 10% better, I would be totally down with these. As is, I'm a little bit here or there on them. Plus, I wonder if there are any other Street Fighter character chips. That'd be interesting to find out. Because, again, Zangief, not really my guy. Like, I mean, if I'm going off of, like, the original Street Fighter games, it's a little bit cheap to say that Sagat would be my character, but, like, kinda is. But then, like, Sagat's a bit of a cheap character in that game, or in those early games. But, I like Sagat. He's cool. Who the hell else? Fei Long. Fei Long, I'm not great with him, but I used to be a lot better. But anyway, Street Fighter aside, 2 questions have to be asked. Would I get these again? Would I recommend them? No, and this is one of those things where you're paying for the branding more than you are the experience of the chip. And look, they're not awful chips. Like, I really do want to emphasize that. If these were just some basic bitch like Lay's chips or something like that, I maybe would have been a little bit more forgiving. But, fuck, man, you got Zangief on the fucking front of the damn thing, It's like, look, I get that Street Fighter isn't quite where it used to be in the pantheon of video games, but it's like one of the most iconic fighting games of all time. And I do feel like, that namesake should warrant a little greater quality. But the chips themselves, they're not awful or anything, but like, again, considering getting them, I'm sure I probably had to pay a little bit extra. I think, though, even if these were, like, just priced at just normal chip point, like just a normal point price for chips in America, I don't know that I would get these again, just because I have had Hotpot flavored chips and they were better. So I have a bar to reach, and these don't reach that. But they're not awful. And that's why if I'm recommending them, I could see some people taking more away from this than I did. I was expecting something spicier and something a little bit more impactful, but not everybody's going to want that. Now, the thing is again, you're paying for the branding. That's really what it comes down to. So, if you're that person, it's like, okay, are you a person who just wants some tasty chips, or are you a person who wants, some little novel thing that has to do with fandom that you enjoy? In that regards, if you're in group 1 where you want some tasty chips, if you're in the other group of the fandom group, I mean, I've had worse tie-in shit, to be fair, but yeah, I mean, I think you could do better, If you want to give them a go, I don't think you'll hate them, but I also don't think you'll be that impressed by them. But 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of the week, monumental rest of the month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there themselves a truly Zangief-tastic rest of your life. I couldn't even tell you any of his moves. Like, because I almost never play as Zangief. Final two things. Number one, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully, do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, who is your favorite Street Fighter character? Or, what's your favorite fighting game franchise? Like I said, not everybody's in a Street Fighter. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, I think for me, Sagat's always a great option. Because, again, he's a little bit cheap. He's a little bit more balanced these days, I think. Well, like I said, I'll pop in some Fei Long. I like DJ, too. And, again, another character who's maybe a slight bit cheap. But, yeah, let me know, man. Because, like I said, I don't bust out Street Fighter very often, but every now and again I'll get together with friends or whatever, and, maybe someone will want to go over there and throw down, and we'll bust out the old-time skills. But anyway,